marks the 100th day in office for President Trump. He is set to leave Washington in about 3 hours from now. Will travel to Michigan, touting his agenda. His first 100 days have been marked by action to shrink the federal government, enhance border security and reduce illegal immigration, and impose tariffs in hopes of spurring American manufacturing. President Trump also issued far more executive orders than any of his predecessors, many of which are now temporarily blocked by the courts. Let's get some more insight on this milestone by turning, as we often do, to Peter Loge, director of the Project on Ethics in Political Communication there at George Washington University. Thanks for being with us.
Always a pleasure.
What's the headline of his 100 days for you?
Chaos. We don't know what's going to happen moment to moment. Tariffs are up, they're down, they're on, they're off. Our allies don't know if they can rely on us. Consumer confidence is way down. People aren't picking up the phones. Feels chaotic.
Do you think the American public feels that way? I remember the beginning of his first term. It felt like many people had never seen this kind of presidency before. The second time around, it feels, in a way, somewhat calmer.
I think it might feel calmer because it's maybe less surprising, but also people aren't quite sure what to make of all of this. You know, everything seems to be happening at once. And in the face of chaotic situations where we're not sure what's happening, people then fill in gaps and create stories to make order of it. For some voters, it's "I told you so, this is the right guy for the job." For others, it's "I told you so, this is crazy town." For a lot of others, it's, you know, we don't know what's going to happen next. It's unpredictable. Maybe they're not up to the job. But everybody's creating their own order in the chaos and responding to their own explanation, regardless of how true it is.
Well, let's talk about how people feel about the president. 42% of Americans polled say they approve of President Trump's job performance. That 42%, the same approval rating from former President Biden when he left in January. What does that sort of lukewarm acceptance of both presidents say to you?
I'm not sure you can compare apples to apples here, because Biden was unpopular on the way out and presidents tend to be least popular as they're heading for the door. Harris lost, right? So that Trump is now as popular as the guy who just lost isn't great news for him. He's also has the lowest approval rating of any president 100 days in. His numbers have completely flipped from when he was sworn in only 100 days ago. People, when he's elected, a lot of people came with great promise. This is going to be great. Inflation is going to go down. We know what's going to happen next. And I think they've been disappointed. Hardcore Republicans still support him in huge numbers. Hardcore Democrats still hate him. It's the middle that's slipping pretty rapidly.
Much of the president's actions, what you refer to as chaos, follow through on promises he campaigned and won on, such as streamlining the federal workforce, cracking down on illegal immigration. We just saw the border czar yesterday telling reporters border crossings are down by 96% under the Trump administration. Do you expect those two trends to continue at the pace we've seen?
I think they will. I think by and large, people like cracking down on immigration. The polling I've seen indicates when you dive into the details, they like it less. For example, deporting a 2-year-old citizen or bypassing due process. The other part is that at this point, people have yet to feel the direct effects of a lot of these policies. It'll be interesting to see what public opinion looks like, for example, when they try to go camping this summer and use our national parks, as people try to get their tax refunds, as a lot of these direct impacts actually roll into our pocketbooks and into our bank accounts. Again, some will be very happy, right? This is what they voted for. Others are going to look around and say, you know, we voted for different, but maybe not this different.
Have you been surprised by anything you've seen so far?
I think the speed. I think a lot of people are surprised by the speed, the everything, everywhere at once approach. Project 2025 laid a lot of this out. None of the policies should be surprising. But the fact that it's been, you know, pedal to the metal from day one, and that, and also a lot of the backing off and forward and backing with the tariffs. We know that Trump in negotiations tends to back off pretty quickly when he's challenged on it. We've seen that throughout his presidency. But the back and the forth and the back and the forth, I think, is giving people a bit of whiplash.
Do you think Elon Musk fades from view, or does he still kind of stick around?
I think Elon Musk is probably going to fade from view. His shareholders have made it pretty clear they want him focusing on his business efforts, not on the government. He's getting headlines in all the wrong ways. He clearly still has the presidency and they share a lot of values. But it's also the case that a lot of Elon Musk's business interests run counter to what this president is trying to do with tariffs and with rolling back support for electric vehicles, charging stations, things like that.
All right. Peter Loge, we'll have to leave it here. Professor there at George Washington University. Thank you again for your time and expertise.